So I've been trying to figure out how to cover the Old Testament God, well, God in the Old Testament, because most of the people don't have the spiritual understanding to just read the Bible and understand that. And I think that that's like a gift that you get from God. Like you would read it and you would just get it, so it wouldn't really sound like it was bad or anything. But to try to explain it in words is super complicated because it's just something that you would know from the inside. And I think that, like, I'm not judging New Age people, but when you read the Bible, when you talk about resonating or whatever, I think you would call it the resonating and all that. Like, I'm wondering why when you read it, you just don't get it. Like, I do wonder that because it makes perfect sense. Like, I never read the Old Testament and was like, oh, God's a bad guy because these people were killed or whatever. I never got that impression at all. And like, I think it's just like, I don't know, spiritually we're in a different place. I don't understand that. I just don't understand it. Sometimes I feel like I have to try to explain it, but it's hard to explain it because you don't have that insight. So when you're saying something resonates with you, I mean, I think that it's just like, I don't really know. Like, I think you could be deceived with that. Like, I don't really know. Like, I think that you're like this idea that we are somehow in control of our own reality. I never felt that I was completely in control over my own reality. It's like, if I was in control of my own reality, then I could stop the game stalkers. The game stalkers don't stop. They would have less effect over me with what they do, but they wouldn't stop. So it's like, why would you believe that? Like, why would you believe that we're like gods or something and we have control over our reality? I don't understand why you believe that. So if you read the Old Testament and you're trying to judge God because of all the killing and stuff that happened, you're forgetting first off that God doesn't technically kill anybody. It's not even killing because he's God, because he was the one who gave these people existence and life in the first place. You're trying to make God out to be human and judge him by human standards as if he was a human. God is not a human. God gave you the life. He's the reason why you existed in the first place. So he's not even killing you. I mean, killing you, how do you kill? That would be like me creating an NPC in a video game and deleting it, and then somebody was like, you're evil because you deleted your Skyrim NPC that you created. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, who would think that? All right, to use an example, if I created a Skyrim NPC or some character in a video game and figured I don't like this character and deleted it, would I be considered evil? I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of just like, that's not the best example, but I mean, the point is that if you create something, you're the one who created it. You have the right, it belongs to you. You have the right to dictate terms. If you don't like the way it behaves or you don't like what it does, you have the right to get rid of it because you're the one who gave it life in the first place. So God gave you existence and he gave you life. He has the right to take it away because he gave it to you if you don't appreciate it. So God creates you and you say, well, I'm going to screw you. Well, he can say, well, I gave it to you and you don't appreciate it, so I'll just take it back. It's more him taking back what he gave to you than he is killing you. Killing is something that people do to other people. Okay, I mean, that's like, it's evil because we're biological beings killing biological beings. We're not responsible for each other's existence. I mean, unless you consider your parents, but even then, it's like a biological thing. It's not like they willed you into existence or something. I mean, these are human standards. This is coming from another biological being to another biological being. I mean, it's just completely different ball game when you're God. So I wanted to kind of put that out there. Like, the killing in the Old Testament was not done out of malice. It was done because it had to be done. So as far as why we live in a miserable world, I want to remind people that it wasn't always like this. We rebelled against God. We broke the covenant. Adam and Eve did. And as a species, we had it in us as a creation to want to go down that road, and it was symbolized through through Eve being tempted and decided she wanted to eat from the forbidden fruit. So, like, once that happened, us as a species were basically saying that we wanted to self-govern, we wanted to learn, we wanted to be like God and have knowledge like God. That's us basically telling God that we wanted that as a creation, and him respecting that. So he respects it. He says, okay, certain people are going to learn from that. So my creation, so I'm going to go ahead and let them do that. And if they're smart, they'll learn. And they'll come back to me and say, okay, look, we wanted to be free. Obviously, we made a mistake. Can you come back into our lives and help us? And that's where the Christians come in. So we learn through life that we need God. And the ones who are smart, the ones who are wise, the ones who are good, figure out that we need God, and we come back, and he helps us. So in a world in which everybody has free will, God still tries to protect people who learn from their mistakes and decide to come back to him. So he still tries to protect us as a species. He says, okay, yeah, you had your free will, you got that, and now you see why you need me in your life. So you can come back, I can protect you. So what happened in the Old Testament, especially since we didn't have a Messiah at that time, because it wasn't the time for that, was God was building the foundation for society as we know it. This was at the very beginning. This was back when society was new. And those people who died had to die in order for society to go forward, in order for God's people to be saved, because God still loved his people. He still loved us. He still wanted to protect us. We came to him and said, we learned. So the fact is, we are his people. He still wants to protect us, just like in the Garden of Eden, he wanted to protect us. He's always loved and wanted to protect us. The fact is, we still, as a species, have free will. We still have free will. I mean, we still made that choice. We still have, this is already done. The decision was already made. So like, some of us learn from it, and we can still gotta get that protection. But the point I want to make, because I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but the point I want to make is that the people who died had to die in order for the greater good to exist. And like the butterfly effect, the smallest thing that you do, the smallest act of defiance can have major consequences to your surrounding environment. Like even something as small as speeding can cause a major accident that could kill God knows how many people. Like people could die, bad things can happen even by the smallest act of defiance. So essentially, God is all-seeing and all-knowing. So he's all-seeing and all-knowing. So to him, it's kind of like, well, since I know everything that's going to happen, I can proactively do things or make things a certain way because I have this knowledge outside of space-time. So like everything that happened because it had to happen in order for us to be where we're at. And if it didn't happen that way, none of us would have stood a chance, because you got to remember that everybody has free will. Everybody has free will. And a lot of people, like, these new ideas are coming because Satan is basically in everybody's head. He's in everybody's head, and he's like, oh, why did God do this? Why did God do that? Why did God kill people? And he doesn't want you to think like that. He's basically saying that God is some sort of monster. Nobody is actually thinking about this stuff. Like, nobody is actually saying to themselves, wait a minute here. You know what I mean? This is God. Like, how would I have any understanding of how the universe works or why things are the way they are? The only person who would know that would be God. And I'm here trying to judge him, and I have no understanding of anything. Satan is playing off your limited understanding of how things are. He's playing you. I think that in a lot of ways, Satan is playing with you because he basically knows that you have a limited understanding, and he's using it against you. You're looking at, he's teaching you to see God the way a human sees another human. Like, hold him to the same standards we hold each other to, like, with the same amount of understanding. Like, I go out and kill somebody, I don't know what that person's future holds. I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know. Like, this person might have been bad today, but then he reforms and he becomes a good person tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know, like, if he's gonna be a monster 20 years from now or kill everybody. I have no understanding of these things. So God would know everything, and everything would have purpose. And like I said, he's not killing anybody. He's the one who gave you life, so he's not killing you because he gave you life. He's the reason why you exist. And when I say he's the reason why you exist, he's the reason, I'm not even exaggerating. He's the reason why everything exists. You belong to him. He gets to set the terms. So like, any person, New Age or not, who's trying to judge God, I don't even understand how that concept could even come into your mind. Like, without a full understanding of the entire universe, all of life, all of existence, you are in no position to judge God, not even close. And as far as punishment goes, well, like I said, you can't have free will without consequence. If society decided to get rid of all the police and judges, we're screwed. I mean, this city, this whole place would just crumble within like a month. The criminals run wild, they kill everybody. Even now, when the cops, you see the gang stalkers, look at the gangs, look how evil they are. This is just a little example of that. You get rid of God, and this is what you get. These people are right on the edge. They're like, I don't believe in God, I'm going to be terrible. You have no idea. You have no idea how bad it could get. No idea. No idea. Hello, this gang stalker trying to talk. Well, I'm about to call the cops on this dude. These people, I'll be paying attention to these people. Oh, this guy was all trying to get my attention. I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and call the police now, buddy. Anyhow, you have no idea. You have no idea how bad it could get. But this is a perfect example of what happens when people reject God. You see these criminals out here? So the point I want to make is that God is needed. God did what he had to do. It's literally that simple. And it wasn't an act of evil. The Bible is very clear in the Old Testament that it hurt him. Every single time he had to punish us, it hurt him. Every time. And he was hurt. He was heartbroken. He never did this stuff out of malice. If the Bible is clear that it had to be done, and it hurt him so badly when it happened. So I just wanted to remind people of that in case you're being deceived. And I deal with evil all the time. These people out here looking for trouble. I generally just try to just go about my day. But yeah, I want you guys to keep that in mind before you hop on the New Age bandwagon. And with that said, let me close.